Are we in a simulated reality? What if everything you see, hear, and feel isn't real? This question might sound like it's straight out of a science fiction movie, but it's a topic that has captured the minds of philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of simulation theory. Is our reality just a complex computer program? Are we living in a virtual world without even knowing it? These questions aren't just idle speculation. They touch on fundamental issues about the nature of our existence and the universe we inhabit. The idea that we might be living in a simulated reality has gained traction in recent years, especially as our own technology has advanced by leaps and bounds. But what exactly does this theory suggest? At its core, the simulation hypothesis proposes that our entire universe, including all of us and everything we experience, could be an incredibly sophisticated computer simulation created by an advanced civilization. This might sound far-fetched at first, but as we'll explore, there are some compelling arguments for why this could be possible. To understand where this idea comes from, we need to look back at the history of similar concepts. Throughout human history, people have questioned the nature of reality. Ancient philosophers wondered if our perceptions could be trusted, or if we might be living in some kind of illusion. But the modern version of simulation theory is closely tied to the development of computer technology. As computers have become more powerful, we've been able to create increasingly complex and realistic simulations of our own. From video games to scientific models, we can now recreate aspects of our world with stunning detail. This has led some thinkers to ask, if we can do this with our current technology, what might an extremely advanced civilization be capable of? Could they create a simulation so perfect that the beings inside it, like us, wouldn't even know they were in a simulated world? There are several arguments that supporters of simulation theory point to. One is the rapid pace of technological progress we've seen in recent decades. If this trend continues, it's not hard to imagine that we might one day be able to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality. Some argue that if this is possible, it's likely that it has already happened, perhaps many times over. Another point in favor of the theory is the limitations of human perception. We already know that our senses don't pick up on everything in our environment. There are sounds we can't hear, colors we can't see, and phenomena we can't directly observe. Could this be because we're in a simulation that only renders what we need to perceive? Some proponents of the theory also point to patterns in nature and physics as potential evidence. The fact that our universe seems to operate according to consistent mathematical rules, or that there appear to be limits to how small things can get, like the Planck length in physics, could be seen as signs of a programmed reality. However, it's important to note that there are also strong arguments against the simulation hypothesis. One of the biggest challenges to the theory is the sheer complexity of consciousness. We still don't fully understand how our brains give rise to our subjective experiences, thoughts, and feelings. Creating a simulation that could replicate this would be an enormously complex task. There's also a notable lack of concrete evidence for the simulation hypothesis. While the theory is interesting to think about, we currently have no way to prove or disprove it definitively. This leads some critics to argue that it's not a scientifically useful idea, as it doesn't lead to testable predictions. Ethical concerns also come into play when discussing simulation theory. If we accept that we might be living in a simulation, what does that mean for concepts like free will, morality, or the value of our experiences? These are deep philosophical questions that don't have easy answers. Despite these challenges, the simulation hypothesis has attracted support from some well-known figures. Elon Musk, the entrepreneur behind Tesla and SpaceX, has famously stated that he thinks the chances we're living in base reality, i.e., not a simulation, are very low. Other tech leaders and philosophers have also expressed interest in or support for the idea. But what do scientists think about all this? The scientific community is divided on the simulation hypothesis. Some researchers are actively working on ways to test whether we might be living in a simulation, although these efforts are still in their early stages. Others argue that the hypothesis isn't scientifically useful because it's currently impossible to prove or disprove. One interesting area of research related to this topic is the study of quantum mechanics. Some of the strange phenomena observed at the quantum level, like particles appearing to be in multiple places at once or influencing each other instantaneously across vast distances, have led some to speculate about whether our reality might be more like a computer simulation than we realize. The idea of simulated reality has had a significant impact on popular culture. Movies like The Matrix have brought the concept to mainstream audiences, sparking discussions about the nature of reality and our place in it. Video games and virtual reality technology are also pushing the boundaries of what's possible in terms of creating immersive, realistic, artificial worlds. This cultural influence raises some interesting philosophical questions. If we are in a simulation, what does that mean for concepts like free will? Are our choices really our own, or are they predetermined by the parameters of the simulation? What about the meaning and purpose of life? Does it change if our reality isn't real in the traditional sense? These questions touch on deep issues of identity and existence. Even if we can't prove whether we're in a simulation or not, thinking about these possibilities can lead us to reflect on what we value and why. It challenges us to consider what makes our experiences meaningful, regardless of the ultimate nature of our reality. The simulation hypothesis also has potential real-world effects on how people think and act. For some, the idea that we might be living in a simulation can be unsettling or even frightening. It might lead to a sense of meaninglessness or fatalism. On the other hand, some find the concept liberating or exciting, seeing it as an invitation to question their assumptions and explore new possibilities. There are also potential risks to consider. If someone becomes convinced that they're living in a simulation, it could potentially lead to harmful or dangerous behavior. This is why it's important to approach these ideas with a balanced perspective, recognizing them as interesting philosophical concepts rather than proven facts. Looking to the future, research into simulation theory is likely to continue. As our understanding of consciousness, quantum mechanics, and computer science advances, we may gain new insights that shed light on the nature of our reality. Some researchers are exploring ways to look for signs of simulation, such as searching for patterns in cosmic rays or investigating the fundamental limits of computation in our universe. However, it's worth noting that proving we're in a simulation might be inherently impossible. If we're in a perfect simulation, any test we could devise to detect it could simply be part of the simulation itself. This paradox adds another layer of complexity to an already mind-bending concept. So, how should we approach the idea of living in a simulated reality in our daily lives? While it's a fascinating concept to ponder, most experts agree that it shouldn't dramatically change how we live. Whether our reality is base reality or a simulation, our experiences, relationships, and choices still matter to us and those around us. Instead of getting too caught up in whether we're in a simulation, we can use this idea as a tool for reflection. It can remind us to question our assumptions, to stay curious about the nature of our world, and to appreciate the complexity and wonder of our existence, simulated or not. The ongoing mystery of our reality is part of what makes being human so interesting. We may never know for certain whether we're living in a simulated world, but the process of asking these questions and exploring these ideas can be valuable in itself. It pushes us to think beyond our everyday experiences and consider the bigger picture of our existence. This exploration of simulation theory, it's worth remembering that this is just one of many ideas about the nature of reality. Throughout history, humans have come up with countless ways of understanding our world and our place in it. While we may not have definitive answers, the act of questioning and wondering is a fundamental part of the human experience. Whether we're in a simulation or not, our reality is filled with beauty, complexity, and mystery. By staying curious, open-minded, and engaged with the world around us, we can continue to learn, grow, and find meaning in our experiences. What do you think about the simulation hypothesis? Does it change how you view your own experiences, or the world around you? These are questions without easy answers, but they're worth pondering. As we continue to advance technologically and scientifically, who knows what new insights we might gain into the nature of our reality. The goal isn't necessarily to prove or disprove the simulation hypothesis, but to use it as a springboard for deeper thinking about our existence. It's an invitation to look at the world with fresh eyes, to question what we take for granted, and to appreciate the incredible complexity of the universe we inhabit, simulated or not. As we move forward, let's carry this sense of wonder and curiosity with us. Let's continue to ask big questions, to seek understanding, and to appreciate the mystery that surrounds us. Whether we're lines of code in an unimaginably complex program or conscious beings in a real physical universe, our experiences, our choices, and our connections with others are what give our lives meaning. So the next time you look up at the stars, feel the warmth of the sun on your face, or connect with a loved one, take a moment to marvel at the experience. Consider the incredible unlikelihood of your existence, whatever its true nature may be. Use the idea of simulation theory not as a source of anxiety, but as a reminder of how little we truly know and how much there is left to discover. In the end, whether we're in a simulation or not, we're all in this together, exploring, questioning, and trying to make sense of our shared reality. And that shared journey of discovery and growth is perhaps the most fascinating and valuable aspect of our existence, simulated or otherwise. This deep dive into simulation theory lets shift our focus from the grand questions of reality to the immediate world around us. How might this perspective influence our daily lives? Could it inspire us to be more present, more appreciative of our experiences? Maybe it could motivate us to be kinder to others, recognizing that everyone is navigating this complex reality alongside us. Consider how this theory might impact various fields of study. In physics, it could lead to new ways of thinking about the fundamental nature of matter and energy. In computer science, it might inspire new approaches to creating artificial intelligence or virtual worlds. In philosophy, it adds a modern twist to age-old questions about the nature of existence and consciousness. The simulation hypothesis also intersects with discussions about the future of humanity. As we develop more advanced technology, including increasingly realistic virtual reality, we're in a sense creating our own simulated worlds. This raises questions about the ethics of creating conscious beings in simulated environments, if that becomes possible. It also makes us consider the responsibilities we might have if we ever become advanced enough to create our own universe simulations. One intriguing aspect of the simulation hypothesis is how it relates to the concept of multiple universes or parallel realities. If it's possible to create simulated universes, could there be countless versions of reality running simultaneously? This idea ties into some interpretations of quantum mechanics and adds another layer of complexity to our understanding of existence. It's also worth considering how the simulation hypothesis might relate to various cultural and religious beliefs. Many spiritual traditions have long held that our physical reality is not the ultimate truth, that there's a deeper level of existence beyond what we can perceive. While the technological framing of simulation theory is new, the core idea of a reality beyond our immediate perceptions has a long history in human thought. As we ponder these big ideas, it's important to maintain a balance. While it's valuable to think about these concepts, we shouldn't let them detract from our engagement with the world around us. Whether we're in a simulation or not, our actions have real consequences for ourselves and others. Our relationships, our work, our impact on the environment, these all matter, regardless of the ultimate nature of our reality. In fact, one could argue that if we are in a simulation, that makes our choices and actions even more important. If an advanced civilization is running this simulation, they're likely doing so for a reason: to learn, to experiment, to observe. Our thoughts, decisions, and behaviors could be providing valuable data or insights. This perspective can be empowering. It suggests that every one of us, no matter our circumstances, might be playing a crucial role in a grand experiment or learning process. It emphasizes the potential significance of every moment, every interaction, every decision we make. At the same time, the simulation hypothesis reminds us to stay humble. If our entire universe could be a simulation, it highlights how much we don't know, how limited our understanding might be. This can encourage us to stay open-minded, to be willing to question our assumptions, and to keep learning throughout our lives. The idea of simulated reality also has interesting implications for how we think about creativity and innovation. If we're in a simulation, is anything truly new, or are we just uncovering pre-programmed possibilities? On the other hand, could our creative endeavors be expanding the simulation itself, adding new elements to the program? These questions don't have clear answers, but they can inspire us to think about creativity and discovery in new ways. As we continue to advance technologically, the lines between real and virtual are likely to become increasingly blurred. Virtual and augmented reality technologies are already changing how we interact with digital environments. As these technologies improve, our ability to create convincing, simulated experiences will grow. This progression might give us new insights into what it means to be real and how we define authentic experiences. It's fascinating to consider how future generations might view these questions. As children grow up with increasingly immersive digital technologies, will the idea of a simulated reality seem more plausible to them? How might this shape their worldview and their approach to life? The simulation hypothesis also raises interesting questions about the nature of consciousness. If we are simulated beings, what does that mean for our subjective experiences, our sense of self? Are our thoughts and feelings just complex algorithms running on an unimaginably powerful computer? Or is there something more to consciousness that can't be reduced to computation? These questions connect to ongoing debates in philosophy and neuroscience about the nature of mind and consciousness. While we don't have definitive answers, exploring these ideas can lead to new insights and approaches in these fields. As we think about these profound questions, it's worth considering how they might influence our priorities and values. If there's a possibility that our reality isn't what it seems, does that change what we consider important? It might encourage us to focus more on our subjective experiences, our relationships, and our personal growth, rather than on accumulating material possessions or status. The simulation hypothesis can also provide an interesting perspective on the concept of legacy. If our reality is a simulation, what does it mean to leave a lasting impact? It might shift our focus from physical monuments or achievements to the influence we have on others, the ideas we spread, and the positive changes we create in our simulated world. This line of thinking can lead us to reflect on the interconnectedness of all things. In a simulation, everything would be part of the same system, intimately connected at the most fundamental level. This resonates with many spiritual and philosophical traditions that emphasize the unity of all existence. As we navigate our daily lives with this expanded perspective, we might find ourselves more attuned to the details of our experiences. The simulation hypothesis invites us to look at the world with fresh eyes, to marvel at its complexity and beauty. Whether we're observing nature, engaging in a conversation, or simply breathing, we can approach each moment with a sense of wonder and appreciation. This heightened awareness can lead to a deeper engagement with life. It might inspire us to pursue our passions more wholeheartedly, to take risks, to explore new ideas and experiences. After all, if our reality might be a simulation, why not make the most of every moment and every opportunity? The simulation hypothesis also provides an interesting framework for thinking about personal growth and self-improvement. If we're in a simulation, could our efforts to learn and grow be seen as upgrading our programming? This perspective might motivate us to continuously work on ourselves, to expand our capabilities, and to strive for our full potential. The simulation hypothesis, it's important to remember that this is just one of many ideas about the nature of reality. While it's a fascinating concept to consider, it shouldn't be taken as a proven fact. The value lies not in believing or disbelieving the theory, but in using it as a tool for reflection, a catalyst for deeper thinking about our existence and our place in the universe. Whether we're living in a simulated reality or not, our experiences are real to us. Our thoughts, feelings, relationships, and actions all have genuine impact and meaning. The simulation hypothesis doesn't negate the importance of ethical behavior, personal growth, or our connections with others. If anything, it underscores the potential significance of every moment and every choice we make. So as we move forward, let's carry with us the sense of wonder and curiosity that the simulation hypothesis inspires. Let's remain open to new ideas and perspectives, always ready to question our assumptions and expand our understanding. Let's approach each day with appreciation for the complexity and mystery of our existence, and with a commitment to making the most of the reality we experience, whatever its ultimate nature may be. In the end, the most important reality is the one we create through our choices, our actions, and our interactions with others. Whether we're in a simulation or not, we have the power to shape our experiences, to grow, to learn, and to have a positive impact on the world around us. And that, perhaps, is the most exciting and empowering idea of all.